Hi, I'm John McGuire, Kinesiology Institute Director and Founder, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today to give you an introduction into what is kinesiology. So I would like to share with you what we're doing in kinesiology today so you can actually see the procedures, get an understanding of it, understand about our programs, and I'd like to just share with you here what we have coming up for today. And I'll be demonstrating things ongoingly, but first of all, you're going to see that we're going to learn what muscle testing is and what it can be used for. We're also going to cover what kinesiology is and how it is used in healthcare. I'm going to give a little of my background, how I use kinesiology in my life and career, and some simple ways to relieve pain and improve health. So I want you to get a pen and paper or possibly in your computer, because I'm going to give you a lot of tips and techniques and insights. Now we're also going to cover techniques from courses and programs that we present, how you can benefit from becoming a certified kinesiologist, what graduates of my training are saying, and your options for studying with the Kinesiology Institute. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to give you a technique here, which is you're going to turn your head from right to left and see if there's any tension in your neck. This is called the ear unrolling technique, and I'm noticing I've got a little more to this side. Okay, so just notice that. And now what I'm going to do is I'll have you, if you had someone to test, and if you have someone on in working that you're working with today while you're watching this, you can actually muscle test them. And what you do is when they turn to one side, particularly the side that's stiff, you'll push on their arm and a strong muscle will generally go weak. I'll demonstrate that later with Suniva when she comes over. But now what you're going to do is you're going to take a hold of the top of each ear. So you're going right up on the top of the ear and you're going to unroll the ear like that. And just pulling it away from the outer edges, going all the way to the bottom, stretching the ear out. Now the ears act as antennae in the acupuncture meridian system. So when you pull them too, it brings more energy into the body, or what we call chi. This is a great technique for any time you're feeling low in energy, but it also again helps relieve stiff necks. Okay? So now after you repeat that 2 or 3 times, I want you to turn your head again. Oh my gosh. Whoa. I could only go this far. I'm getting a lot more range of motion. See if you do as well. So it's a great little technique. And as I mentioned, it's a good energy booster. And because the ears act as antennae for the acupuncture meridian system, and it's good to do for during breaks throughout the day, or if you're standing in line like at the DMV or the post office. I'm going to now talk about what muscle testing is. Now, muscle testing is used in kinesiology as a language to communicate with the body's innate intelligence, to get a wide variety of information about the state of the body-mind and how things affect it. And I'll be demonstrating that today, so you'll get to see how we ask the body, in a sense, is energy flowing or is it blocked? Dr. Goodhart, who I studied with, used to say, assess the need, supply the need, and observe the result. And assessing the need is what muscle testing shows us. It shows us when we need to do a correction. It basically shows you where energy is blocked in the body. In fact, I feel that this is a technique or skill that should be taught in school, like even elementary school, to get kids to start doing it. Because you find out things that if you had known that, like for instance my own health, when I was young I had a myriad of health problems. They were so bad that I got it 2 years I couldn't even take gym classes. My doctor excused me from them because when I would work out I'd have such pain I'd be debilitated. And I went to many doctors where the doctor did all the tests from standard Western medicine and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. No doctor ever asked what I ate. No doctor ever asked what my emotional state was and my family life at home. And I had a very difficult father. I had a horrendous diet. And they did all the tests, and all they could say was, There's nothing we can find. It's all in your head. That's what they told me. But still, I had the pains. In fact, as I mentioned, I couldn't even go more than a mile without having pain just walking long distances. Well, after I got into kinesiology in my 20s, I started balancing myself and finding out a lot of what I was eating was blocking my energy and creating sensitivities and irritations and inflammation. So what I found out was I could use muscle testing to find out the optimum diet for myself, foods to avoid, as well as the right exercise program, as well as what structural imbalances were happening. So as I balanced myself, I was then able to totally transform my life, and I ended up running triathlons and racing in triathlons and having even marathons that I ran. Okay, so we're going to have a person that will be testing, and I'll show with gentle, gradually increasing pressure how pushing on her arm or leg, how she will attempt to hold that pressure, and if they can't hold it, we consider the muscle weak or switched off, which means there's energy blockage. If they can hold it with strong pressure, then we call it switched on. So that's the fundamentals of muscle testing, and I'll demonstrate that in just a moment. So we use it to find where energy is blocked in the body and what's causing the blockage, and what is the best way to remove the blockage. So we do not use muscle testing to diagnose and treat medical conditions. This is not meant to replace conventional Western medicine. There are times where it's very appropriate, and I get physicals every year, I get my blood work done, but a lot of what you can do to keep yourself healthy is what we teach. Okay, so Suneva, come on over and let's see if we can demonstrate muscle testing. Very good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Great. Looking good. And let's see how we find here the muscle. So here's how you do this. Is you, stepping this way just a bit, you're going to hold as I push down, ready and hold, and she's meeting my pressure. Now what I often do is I'll use a magnet with the North Pole, which is that green dot there, and if I put it right on the muscle, it should switch off. Let's see what happens. Hold, and it does. And if I push this way, you see how that's strong. That's the South Pole. But if I put the North Pole, ready and hold, see how it goes off. Great. Now what I do then is I can now touch areas of the body that's basically asking her body, how is this specific area? Now I can touch acupressure points, I can touch areas where there's organs, I can touch muscles. So do you have any stress in your body right now?
Well, I have been, I guess I was around sick people, so I got a little something. But are you talking about like physical stress or emotional stress, or what kind of stress are we talking about?
Any kind that you have. What is it?
I had a little bit of emotional stress and a little bit of, something going on with my health.
All right. Now, when she mentioned a little bit like headache. A challenge of immunity. Oh, and you had some headache? Where's your headache?
I have actually a lot of things happening at once. Like yesterday I had a little bit of fever and a little bit of headache.
Okay.
And just pain in my throat.
Pain in your throat? Okay. So here's what we can do. I can point at various areas. The first things I'm going to point at is your thymus gland. The thymus is a kind of a regulator for our immune system, and I'm going to retest the strong muscle while I touch that and point there and see what happens. Wow, do you see that went weak? Now this is a little tip for you. Whenever you're having low immunity or even under stress, you can thump on your thymus. So I'd like you, just thump right there. And you do that while you're watching. It's kind of like Tarzan did. Remember Tarzan movies, and he used to beat on his chest? Well, I don't know if they knew that, but that actually activates your life force and your energy. Okay, so in times when you might be feeling a little sickness come on, that's a great little tip to do. Okay, so let's retest it now. So again, what we do is we test to see how's the energy here, and it said, ooh, not so good. Let's test again, and that's the beauty of muscle testing. After you find something out, you can test and see if it's now in, and you notice that. See how it's now strong? Yeah. Great. Now, you mentioned some things in the throat.
Yes, well, my voice is like funny. It's not as painful as it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. but yeah, my throat's been a little challenged.
Okay. Well, let's check some acupressure points. Now, that's another thing you can do with muscle testing is if you touch an acupressure point and it tests weak, it means it needs work. In other words, stimulation, not necessarily needles. You could use needles or touch, tapping. So let's just check a few things here. I'm going to check, you mentioned headache, right?
Yes, and I don't know if there's something happening with my tooth that's creating the headache or why, but I had like a headache yesterday and
okay.
the day before too.
Okay, so let's start with, just going to go, you mentioned tooth.
There could be some
okay.
issues there.
Okay, let's see what's happening here. Okay, that's testing weak. Now here's another thing. Can you put your tongue on the tooth?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's switching off. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to look for some acupressure points while she's touching that. Now, we do a lot of these techniques that I'm just demonstrating right now in our Kinesiology Fundamentals class, which happens to be coming up this weekend, but you can also register for it at kinesiologyinstitute.com, and we cover most of what I'm showing today in that course. You can actually watch it live this weekend or ongoingly through our recordings. So touch that again, and as she's touching it, see how it goes weak with your tongue? So keep touching that, and now I'm going to see if there's some acupressure points that can be helpful. Give me your hand here. I'm going to touch on large intestine 4 while she's touching that. Does that clear it? Wow, it does. This happens to be good for often problems in the head, jaw, headaches. Is that tender there at all?
But it feels very good, but it's not too tender.
It kind of hurts good?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's where I'm rubbing. It's kind of if you make your hand go like this, right where that point goes, that's where you're going to be. And you're going to be right against the second metacarpal there. Okay, very good. So as I'm rubbing there, is your tooth feeling any different as I'm doing this?
No, but I'm feeling like kind of like
you feel an energy
in my head area.
Okay, great. So let's see what that does now. Touch that tooth.
It isn't hurting. I just wonder if it's affecting.
So yeah, there's some energy blockage there. Again, muscle testing tells you when energy's blocked. So put your tongue on that tooth again. Good. And without doing that, I'll show this as well. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to check a few other points here. Let's test. I'm going to check an acupressure point back here. It's gallbladder 20. That's strong. Check one here. Good. Let's check stomach 1. That's good. Bladder 1. And these are beginning and end points on the head. You might be familiar with emotional freedom technique. That's where we tap on points on the face. And, triple warmer 23 is showing. Now, triple warmer 23, it is the right side, outside of the eyebrow. It relates to, every muscle in your body, by the way, relates to an organ and a meridian. And in your case, triple warmer relates to the adrenals and the thyroid.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So here's what I can do. I can again have a strong indicator muscle and touch right in at the throat, pointing at the thyroid. Now that's strong. Now I can test the adrenals by touching, touch your navel. I'm going to go up 2 inches. So I'm going to touch here and here, 2 inches up and 1 inch out. These are energy switches for the adrenals. Hold. See how that's weak? So that could relate. Now touch with your right hand the outside of your eyebrow over there.
Here?
Yeah, that's triple warmer 23. Now watch what happens. Do you see it goes from weak to strong? What that means is, take the hand away, when I have a strong indicator muscle, which is a biofeedback needle to say, okay, we got energy flow, and I touch the switches, I'm asking your body, how's the energy flowing in the adrenal glands? And it says, not so good. Then when she touches this point, and it goes strong, it's saying, wow, that'll help. So that's an acupressure point that can help the adrenals. Now, the other thing I can do is these points themselves, because any point you touch that's a switch, just like an acupressure point, which in a way is a switch, if you touch it and a strong muscle goes weak, it says, flip me on. So that flip that energy switch on there will be helpful. So we now got one other point I'm going to show. This is called triple warmer 3. For you, again, that have done energy kinesiology, psychological kinesiology, this is called the gamut point, if you're familiar with it. In my certification program, we cover a lot of additional psychological techniques, and that point is a good one. Relates to the adrenals, but it also relates to other factors. So in your case, that didn't switch off though. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you just touch right here, and then I'll rub the switches again for the adrenals right on the belly here. And these are what we cover in our course, the Kinesiology Fundamentals, is rubbing these switches called neurolymphatic points. So a neurolymphatic point is an energy switch that stimulates lymph flow to the organ and related muscles. Okay? Now in our certification program, we cover all of the basic muscles of the body, the organs they relate to, the switches, how to activate them and bring the body into a structural balance. But in our fundamentals, we do these switches as well. That's our beginning intro course. That's it's a 12-hour course, and we're having one this weekend. Now, let's see if that cleared it. So, and I touch these points again, and that's cleared. That's cleared. And so, are you feeling any shift in energy from what we're doing?
I am. I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm kind of realizing there's been some like emotional stress that might have like triggered this whole physical thing.
So some emotional stress. Yes. Would you like to clear that?
Yes.
Great. Well, this is a technique I'm going to show right now. Is again one that we do in our fundamentals course. And John Thie, who I worked closely with, I was the program director of the Touch for Health Foundation, and I worked as John Thie's chiropractic assistant. He wrote this book called Touch for Health, and this book shows, and we use this as a text in our certification program, shows all the primary muscles, and it has a emotional stress release technique that again we teach in our fundamentals that's really helpful. In fact, John Thie said, if all you did was the technique I'm going to show right now, said 80% of problems would probably clear up. Because stress is the most important thing, emotional stress, the most important thing to clear for even physical problems, not just emotional. Okay? So let's check an arm again. So I'm just doing a straight arm, generally about 45 degrees up, but I could have it straight out to the side as well. I could check the other arm, but I'm doing a light pressure. We show in our fundamentals course how to do accurate muscle testing. We spend a lot of time on that because you have to get good and accurate results. Otherwise, you can't, and a lot of people in the beginning have trouble finding clear muscle tests. But we found with you, when it went off with the magnet and on without it, we know it's an accurate indicator. So holding this again, you have one stressor that's like your number one stressor right now?
Yeah.
Now here's a good thing. She doesn't even have to tell me what it is. So think about that, and I'm going to have you hold as I push again. Okay, now again, the arm switches off, so it says, oh, we've got stress related to that. Okay?
I have another one too.
You got another one too, okay? Well, think about that one, and I'll show you another way we can do it. Got that one in mind? Okay, hold as I push. Now both of them go weak. Here's what you can now do, and we show this in our courses as well, how to ask the body questions. So I asked her body, you just hold no matter what every time I push, hold the same, okay? So I always pushing the same. It's light, gradual increasing pressure. So I say, body, give me a yes. Body, give me a no. Okay, so a yes in this case is a strong muscle. So now I'm going to ask, the best stressor to clear is the first one. So thinking about that. And it says yes. The best one to clear is the second one. No. So it's asking yes, no questions of the body. So you now know the ones to clear, right? Okay. Now there are these really helpful points right on the forehead. Very light touch. They're called frontal eminences, so you might feel them on yourself. And do them right now as we're doing this. And I'd like you to, as I'm doing this with Sunniva, you just step right in front here. I'll just hold them very lightly. And what I'm going to have you do is do some slow, deep breaths. And as you're watching, you can do the same. So I want you just to notice anything in your life that's stressful right now. And you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed. And she's got the eyes closed, which is fine. And I want you just to, as you're relaxing, breathing deep, I want you to notice anything you saw. Now, folks, when you're doing this technique, you don't have to do it like say anything out loud, the person being worked with, but if they want to talk about it, that's fine. Again, we show this in our touch breath kinesiology, or actually our energy kinesiology fundamentals, which is a basic touch breath technique. Now, notice any thoughts you have around this. Okay, and just observe them. That's the key to this technique. You just want to witness what is it that you thought, what is it that you heard, and simply notice. As you breathe deep, holding these points, now notice any body sensations that you have. And just breathe into those and let them flow. Maybe a tightness somewhere. And as you continue to breathe deeply, notice the emotions that are there. And just relax into them, allow them to be there. And as you breathe deeply, as you exhale, just let all that go. And now let's have you think about how you'd like to feel about this situation. Okay? And so as you feel the way you want to feel, how would that be? How would you like to feel about it?
Fun. Like, I'm stressed about it rather than just, it's all really just fun. It's just my focus has been like on worry lately, which I'm realizing isn't very helpful. Okay, so notice how you want to feel like having fun, and feel those feelings now. You got a sense of this? Soon. Okay, just breathe in. Think of the time you're really having fun. Okay? And then, with that in mind, feeling those feelings, see that situation again with that experience. You got it? Yeah. Great. Okay. Now, I'm just touching very lightly. I'm going to let go. And let's have you think about the situation again and hold as I push. You got it in mind? Great. Now, do you see how that's strong now? Yeah, it's ridiculous how, I've been focusing so negatively on certain things, stressfully, and I can just really, have a blast with it. So it's just, I wish I had done this a few days ago. Okay. Now we know anytime a stressor comes up, plug this technique in, okay? All right. Yeah, totally different focus. Okay, good. So we've got a few things we've already done. I'm going to bring you back in a little bit, but you see how the bottom line is, when you have this biofeedback tool of muscle testing, you can ask the body where you have baseline energies flowing, then we either touch something or think something, and we can also test muscles, which we'll demonstrate a little later, that are each individually related to an acupuncture meridian and an organ. So where that's particularly great with athletes, because we'll find a lot of athletes will get adrenal fatigue from overtraining, and then we actually they'll have knee problems or ligament problems, sometimes shoulder problems, and then when we balance them, it will bring them back into peak performance. Okay, so hang out in the studio here and we'll bring you back in a little bit. Thank you. I feel so much better now. And she feels better. That's what we like. That's why you come here. That's what Dr. Goodhart used to say. Okay, so we'll go back to our PowerPoints now. And so we're going to look at what we can use muscle testing for. We can assess the innate intelligence, or access the innate intelligence in the body, which you call the biocomputer, as a form of biofeedback to find the subconscious information that the conscious mind isn't aware of. We also can locate stress in the muscles, organs, and joints that cause pain and dysfunction. We kind of challenged our adrenal glands as a very common one. We also can determine which foods enhance our health and energy and which foods deplete it. I'm going to be showing a nutritional test kit that I work with in a little bit. So you'll also find nutritional supplements that bring our body back into balance. Now we find mental and emotional stressors, which I just demonstrated with Sunniva, and those are probably, again, some of the most powerful work in kinesiology is when you're getting to the heart of emotional issues, because those are so commonly involved in people's health challenges. And I'll be demonstrating a little bit how you can find out with what we call hand modes what's the source of a person's problem. We show that in our
Kinesiology Fundamentals course again coming up this weekend. Now you can determine which acupuncture meridians are out of balance, which we were doing with Sunniva, and I'll show other ones that we're going to be teaching this weekend. You can assess and balance the chakras, which are the energy vortices that affect the body, mind, and spirit. Chakras are a really important thing to balance, and we show that in our certification program in the energy kinesiology balancing. You can also find blocks in the energy field, the aura around the body. I had one woman who was having hip problems. She had gone to various doctors and they couldn't find out what was going on in her hips. Just recommended surgery. Well, I found it was in her energy field. And I worked out in the field and her pain totally went away without me even touching her body. Now, sometimes it's in the field, out in the energy field, not actually in the body. So we're looking at all layers and aspects of being. See, we are vibrational beings. The dense level of vibration is our physical body. But with even in that, there's all these streams and flows of myriads of energy systems. And so we're asking each energy system what's going on. And the good news is, when you affect one thing, it can affect everything else. And what we show you how to do in our courses is how to find the priority, like what's the first domino that's knocking down all the others. Okay, so sometimes it's in the energy field. Now we also have, we like to determine factors in the environment that can be affecting our health and energy. Give you an example of this. I had a woman come in with joint problems, and by doing the kinesiological muscle testing, we assessed it was something in her environment, and it was mold. In fact, I've gone to people's houses. This is a great thing to do as a kinesiologist. Go to their houses and test their environment. I had one woman who, when I checked her lung, there's a muscle-related lung, was her priority under energy. And I had a sense, I said, let's go outside your house. And I had her all balanced. She was strong. I said, okay, walk into your house and take a breath. She walks in, takes a breath, and goes weak. And I said, well, when did your problems develop? She said, well, they started happening right around October when the furnace started kicking in and they had bad air in their air ducts. And so we deduced that was her challenge. Another guy had skin conditions, and he had been to 6 different doctors to find out what's the source of his problem for his skin. We determined it was soap he just started using when the skin condition then developed that he got at Costco or something like that. So there's things in your environment that can be a major stressor. We also can find specific emotions and at what age it got trapped in the body, creating energy blockage and disease. Give an example of this. We had a woman who one of my students worked with had shoulder problems. She'd been to many doctors for 17 years, and he was able, through using our methods, determine it was emotionally based. She cleared the emotion doing the techniques we teach in our courses, and for the first time in 17 years, she had no more pain. So sometimes physical problems and diseases are emotionally based. Not always, and it's often an interaction between food, nutrition, lifestyle, environment, but we, in our system, show you how to determine what it is. Now, you can also discover which approach is the most effective way to bring a person back into balance, and I'll demonstrate that in a little bit, and confirm that your corrections were effective, like I just demonstrated with Sunniva. When she touched a certain area, like the tooth, and then we determined an acupressure point that would clear that, then when we touched the tooth again, the muscle tested strong, confirming we cleared it. Same way with the adrenal points. So everything, the beauty of muscle testing is it says, did we do our work effectively? Now, what is kinesiology? Well, there's 2 basic forms of kinesiology. There's academic kinesiology, and that's what you would study in a university program. I've heard people, in fact, I've had students that got a degree in kinesiology at school and then studied with us because we go to a whole nother level. So the academic kinesiology is the study of biomechanics and exercise physiology that's taught at traditional universities. It studies the function of muscles to assess their physical strength and neurological functioning, but no connection with the energy meridians or fields or any of the holistic components are dealt with there. And it's often what a physical fitness instructor or I've seen wrestling coaches that were into kinesiology. They study the biodynamics, and they will know exercise science. That's often what that kind of kinesiology is. Now, we do applied kinesiology and all its offshoots, which is what we're going to be dealing with the rest of this program here today. So applied kinesiology was developed by my instructor. I studied, my certification was with Dr. George Goodhart in 1982. He is the one who, in 1964, discovered there's a connection between muscles, organs, and meridians, and how we can immediately strengthen a weak muscle by doing the appropriate reflexes. And it's a way of assessing the body's structural balance and its energy flow. So Goodhart discovered that there's a connection between each of these meridians and organs, and that is not recognized in academic kinesiology. So he observed that muscle strength and function could be immediately improved when certain neurological reflexes and other factors were stimulated or massaged, acupressure, nutrition. See, every muscle in your body relates to a specific set of nutrients, like vitamins or minerals, also emotions. And so that's what we study in our certification program. We get into all the little bits and pieces that give you a breadth of knowledge to give you a lot of power in working with people to resolve their health issues. Now, he also found out that a previous strong muscle could become weak when a stressor was introduced, such as Sunniva was thinking about an emotion, a strong muscle went weak, or a situation. So also unhealthy food. It's a great biofeedback indicator, as I mentioned, for environmental stress or touching any area where there's challenges or dysfunction. So many systems grew out of applied kinesiology, including Touch for Health, as I mentioned, Dr. John Thie. So I first studied with Goodhart, and then I went and moved from Akron, Ohio to Pasadena to work in John Thie's office. I was his chiropractic assistant. And then I was actually the program director of Touch for Health, and I taught I think I've taught in like 16 different countries now. And so I was the one that kind of branched Dr. Goodhart's work and John Thie, which is basically a simplified applied kinesiology. John Thie asked Dr. Goodhart, he said, why don't we write a book for lay people? And Goodhart said, John, if you want a book for lay people, you write it, because I'm busy working with all the doctors. And so that's when John Thie had the brilliant project that he created of creating kinesiology for people that are non-doctors. And that's basically what Touch for Health is, because it's primarily the same system, but it's simplified. So I, as my practice as a massage therapist and then became a kinesiologist, I saw that there were things that were gaps in Touch for Health that I wanted to bring in things from applied kinesiology. So I studied also for 32 years with Dr. Sheldon Deal, who was the only original founder of the International College of Applied Kinesiology that's still alive and teaching. We actually deliver his programs as well. So I took the best of Sheldon, the best of Dr. Deal, the best of Dr. Thie, and several other doctors. I was always studying. For the last 35 years, I've done nonstop studying. And I always like to say, what's the easiest, simplest way to do it? Like, I like simple and easy, not complicated. And so I've studied many systems, and some kinesiology systems, which are great, are very complicated, but I like to keep it simple. So of all these systems, we call them energy kinesiology, because they're all using muscle testing to assess energy blockages. Now, from a holistic perspective, all parts of a person are interconnected. As I mentioned, our structural physical body is connected to our nutrition and biochemistry, is connected to our emotions, is connected to our spiritual elements and aspects beyond our ego, as well as connected to our surroundings and the people around us. So we actually show in our kinesiology class where if you're around negative people, it can actually, you'll test weak just being in their thought field. However, there's good news. Your thought field can be more powerful and shield you from that. So if you're around negative people feeling really drained, here's the key. Think love and compassion and just feel it in your heart. And if you're in a state of love and compassion, that is a more powerful energy and emotion than any negativity, so it won't penetrate you. So when you are around negative people, just breathe deep and feel love and compassion towards them. Now, they also recognize that the innate intelligence that runs the body is connected to the universal intelligence that connects all things. It's a basic principle in Chinese medicine, that the macrocosm is in the microcosm and vice versa. So it's a really profound study when you get into it. Okay, so all these systems use muscle testing as a way to listen to the innate intelligence that runs the body to determine what's at the source of a person's health challenge, which holistic approach is the best way to bring the person back into balance, and also did the correction we apply create energy flow and balance. Okay, now I'll go a little bit into my background. I first got a degree in holistic health in 1979 and became a massage therapist and yoga instructor right around then. So I trained in Touch for Health in 1981, went on to study with Goodhart in 82, and then I became a certified Touch for Health instructor later that year. I then became the program director of the Touch for Health Foundation in 1987, and then founded my Kinesiology Institute and created the certification program in 1992. I also joined the faculty of Anthony Robbins Life Mastery University in 94, so I've been teaching through that for the last 22 years as well. So it's been a real privilege for me to have the experience of the people I've been able to work with and then to be able to share it with others. Now, here's a great quote from Albert Einstein, and then we'll bring Sunniva back in a moment. The energy field is the sole governing agent of matter. So this energy field that's within the body and around the body is what really directs the functions and the physical matter. So that's why thought is a very powerful energy. And we work with these energy fields to really shift people's lives. So everything affects our energy and thus our health and quality of life, including our lifestyle. And that includes getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, the right kind of exercise. Also, our environment that we've talked about. Getting fresh air. In fact, Sheldon Deal says next to thought being number one, the most important thing is the air you breathe. So a lot of health issues are from the air we're breathing. So good to have great quality air. In fact, when I asked Dr. Thie why he moved to Malibu, he said, you know, when his son was, when he was young in his practice, he had his practice in Pasadena, and he lived all the way out in Malibu, which was like 60 minutes at least to get back and forth. He said it had the best air quality in all of Los Angeles County. It wasn't that he wanted to be around the stars and the beach and all that. I just want good air. So that was quite interesting. So our diet and supplements. In fact, I've made a huge difference in people's lives with just finding exactly the right diet and what supplements they should take. And actually saved people's lives, they've told me, from just finding out. Because many of the foods we eat, when we show how to test for foods, I find many times 80 to 90% of what people eat are actually switching them off. Okay, thinking and emotions, again, that is so critical because our thoughts have a huge power over our energy, over our health, over our meridian flow. And so here's a good thing to remember. When you're feeling down, look for a feel-good thought and just focus on it. Have one you can just focus on, somebody you love and appreciate. In fact, there's been doctors in medical science through heart math that found that the most important thing is to feel love and compassion in your heart to help heal any disease. One of the most important factors. So what you think and feel. Okay, also relationships and communication. If you can't bring somebody else up, don't let them bring you down. Then touching the body, which has a piezoelectric response. Touch and massage affects the biofield. Okay? So we'll get into how you can benefit others by becoming a kinesiologist in a little bit, but let's bring Sunniva back up here. And I just want to mention, while she's coming up, we have our Kinesiology Fundamentals course that you can start right away by enrolling on kinesiologyinstitute.com, and we have a special price going on right now, so you can save substantially on this course. So if you go to kinesiologyinstitute.com, you'll see in the upper upcoming events on the left side of the screen, you click on that link, it'll tell you all about the course, and if you enroll by tomorrow, you'll have a substantial discount, and we have the live stream of the event where you'll be able to ask questions and interact happening this weekend. Along with that, we have recorded videos along with PowerPoints, manuals, and quizzes, so it's a comprehensive study program with 16 units of continuing education, if you need those, for various organizations. And that course is our prerequisite for our certification program. And it also stands alone. So much of what I'm showing today is in that course. So you really get a great fundamental balance of your own body, your friends, your family. People have said they've taken it just to help their kids. But then if you're in practice, you can plug it right into a practice. Okay, so Sunita, come on back up. Let's do some testing with nutrition.
Okay.
Okay? Now there's ways we like, in fact I've got a test kit right here that I like to use. And we can get that strong indicator muscle. Again, let's just hold your arm out like this, okay? Now what I'd like you to do is just run your finger down this row. Okay? Let's see. Okay, that's strong. Now run your finger down this row. Okay? That's strong. Let's go to this one here. Okay, just go zoom right down there. And this is a test kit. Hold. Oh, now that went weak. This is a test kit that we actually carry. Life Work Potentials has these vials, and they're really helpful. I use them all the time, and they last a lifetime. I had spent about $1,000 on different kits from her, and then I realized, you know, there's a lot. I like this from this kit, this from that kit, this from this kit. And so we produced one, along with Dr. Deal, that is our comprehensive one that kind of covers most of the bases. So we carry this. If you're interested, email support@kinesiologyinstitute.com, and you'll see how we work with this and how it's available. Okay, so let's just do half of this now. Okay, hold. Now let's do the next quarter. Okay, there's something in there. So let's do this and this. Hold those, just touch these two. Okay, right on the bottle. Okay, and then the next two. Okay, and then the next two. Okay, then one of those, and then the other one. Okay, now she goes weak on, cow's milk cheese. She's not very happy about that. Okay, so this is the energetic essence, and it's uncanny how accurate it is, because I've tested other people who say, oh yeah, I kind of knew that, and I don't know what she's touching, and she doesn't either, so let's go this line.
I think I have an addiction. I can't stop eating it when I have it around. Okay,
so let's have you go right here, across here. Okay, and in our biochemical balancing part of our kinesiology certification program, we show how you can actually clear allergies. So let's have you go this line now. Okay. Let's see how we're doing there. Okay, we got something else. So again, just half of it at a time. And then hold. Okay, then a quarter of the next. Okay, well we know it's in the next half, so just go this far. Okay, that'll work too. 3, and then do 3 more. And then 3 more. Okay, so 1, then that. Okay, then that, and then the last one. Okay, so this one is lobster. Do you ever eat lobster?
There was a lot of lobster served the other day, but my friend has been saying a lot of negative things about it. I think my...
Yeah, well, maybe that your body said, I don't agree with lobster, you know? So this is really valuable information.
I think my mom is feeding my daughter a lot of lobster right now. Maybe that's a problem.
Okay, well, at least it'd be a problem for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see how you can basically just scan down rather than testing each one, and then if it's in that group, then you just start chunking it down until you find the individual one. Now we also have things in here that are positive. Like there's things we can test for hormones, neurotransmitters, and again in our certification program we show ways you can find neurotransmitter imbalances. So let me do this. I'm going to do a quick check on you. So she's going to hold this here, the arm up, hold as I push, good, hold here, and hold here.
Isn't there a lot of toxins in like lobster and stuff?
Yeah, because they're scavengers. But that's interesting that your body pulled that out. I didn't know what you go and you find the things that your body really doesn't like. Okay, so now in this case, she has a strong muscle. Now I'm touching the back of her head. Turn this way so they can see what I've got there. That is, the magnet's pointed straight in on the occiput. Now what I'm going to do is there's a acupressure point, bladder 1, that relates to serotonin, the neurotransmitter. And now see, when I pulled that up, it's now showing out. Another way to do this is we can take serotonin, or tryptophan actually, and we can see if that strengthens. So now I take the vial of tryptophan, and you can hold that, and I'll see if that clears it. Very good. Now do you see how that cleared it?
Yeah.
So tryptophan would be helpful for you. Do you have any challenges with sleep?
I've been having a lot of challenges with sleep. Like
Okay.
I wake up I wake up in the night and then I can't sleep.
Okay. That's a symptom of low serotonin.
Oh.
If you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't fall back to sleep, it's commonly serotonin deficiency. Now here's what I want you to do. Don't do it right now because we're going to do some more testing. But folks, if you have difficulty sleeping, I do this right before I go to sleep actually, and I always sleep well through the night, is you tap bladder 1. Bladder 1 is kind of where your glasses would sit, right there, right off the canthus, this little part of your eye, and you could just tap that about 100 times. And do that right before you go to sleep. And if you do wake up in the middle of the night, you can also do that as well. Now,
I usually do like an hour of yoga while I'm like waiting
yeah,
to sleep.
Okay. Now back to the tryptophan. I have some 5-HTP. This is 5-hydroxytryptophan. So let's put this in your field. It's actually, tryptophan converts into 5-HTP, so it's basically the same. Okay. Now what I do is I can check here again and see if that clears it, and see how it does. Okay. Now let's also do this. So remember this, how this is showing. We've got an imbalance in the serotonin levels. This determined it was a deficiency, by the way, because you can have an excess. Okay, hold that again. And it also shows, hey, that's the right product. And I'll just show you. Let's just try something else here, for instance. Okay, I've got DHEA, and see if that helps. That did not help. Let's try...
I have melatonin upstairs.
Okay, well, any other thing, but basically you can determine exactly what you need. Now, the other thing we can do is we can see if this is a priority. Now, we show this in our fundamentals course. There's a little hand mode here that's called the priority mode. And interesting thing is if it's strong and it changes, in this case it would go to weak or switched off, it means it's a priority. And it did. Now, there's different ways that we show in our courses how to test how much to take, but I'll do the simple way. I'll just ask your body. More than 1 a day, more than 2. Okay, so 2 a day. 2 at the same time. Okay, 2 before bed. So
maybe then I won't wake up if I take it before bed.
Right. Yeah, just take it right before bed.
Okay.
So you could also say with food, without food. So there's ways you can determine by asking the body. And there's another way we show too, but I want to keep it simple. We've got a lot of ground to cover here. Now back to this. Let's now go, I'm going to do this, and I want you to take, standing right here, you're going to take your left leg, when the arm goes down, step out 18 inches towards me with your left leg. Okay, great. Now keep your foot right there. So she just stepped out. Now notice it stays weak now without touching that. Again, we teach this in my fundamentals course, Kinesiology Fundamentals. It's a way of putting it in the biocomputer's retention. It's sort of like saying, we have blockage in bladder 1 related to serotonin deficiency. We have blockage in bladder 1 related to serotonin deficiency. So now I know, oh, okay, well, let's see what helps that. Now there's a brilliant system that Dr. Alan Beardall, chiropractor from Oregon, discovered related to yoga mudras. And you know about yoga mudras.
Sure.
It's hand positions. And what he discovered is when you touch your thumb to your index finger, if a weak muscle goes strong, it says there's something structural that needs to be done. So now, without moving your feet, still got the weak muscle, see what happens. it didn't change. So it's saying we don't need to do something structural. Now this would be nutrition, the middle finger. See what happens. Oh, it says, yeah, we need nutrition. Well, we already saw the supplements, but I can also ask diet addition? No. Diet deletion? Yes. Okay, so there's something you need to delete from your diet.
So from cheese, but can I eat raw cheese, or is it just like the?
Okay, well let's ask.
How much
it's okay to eat raw milk cheese? No, not right now. But there's things we could do to clear that. How about caffeine? Delete caffeine. Okay.
I've been surviving on caffeine.
Yeah, well that's
usually.
it. Now here's a good tip for you folks. Caffeine stimulates dopamine, which is the one that makes you feel like, go, I can get things done, I'm on top of the world. But it depletes your serotonin
levels. I feel
levels.
like tired underneath.
Yeah. So that's where you need to delete.
Like,
you need to delete caffeine.
Yeah, and I took for a few days instead. Before I took what is that other thing? Tyrosine? Is it that or
yeah, tyrosine?
That makes you like, and I was so focused, so I was actually better probably.
Yeah, tyrosine actually stimulates dopamine, and that's why people take coffee. So instead of going to Starbucks, get and I do this first thing. I've already had, I think, my second tyrosine today. It's a great way to keep you up without relying on caffeine.
You're so like clear.
Yeah, and it's exactly, that's what dopamine does. It makes you clear and focused. So what you're needing to do is, again, I got a weak muscle and circuit. I say delete caffeine, and it goes strong, saying, yeah, that would be a good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So that's diet deletion and supplement addition, the 5-HTP. Now let's check this one. This is the emotion finger. So if the emotion finger strengthens, we know we need to clear some emotions. But that didn't strengthen. See, that's the beauty of knowing what do you need for this condition. And that's true all across the board. I'm just doing this for her specific thing, but we use this all the time. And now this one, energy. Oh, now this one related to energy says we need to do something, so I can check right here. And I'm touching now spleen 21 on the left. That's the end of the spleen meridian, and see what happens. Now, do you notice how that went strong? That means we need to balance chakras. So again, I said earlier, chakras are often a great thing to balance for people, a high priority, and so that can actually help your serotonin levels.
Yeah.
So let's do, I'm doing as much as I can here to give you a lot of sense of the power of this. So let's do that.
For me.
So yeah, now she still has this in circuit. Yeah, so she still got it in circuit. So now I can just put my hand at the levels of the various chakras, and now since she had a weak one in circuit, the ones that go strong, hold there, yeah. Actually, it's right on the solar plexus. Okay, so that's the one we need to balance, okay? So what I'll do is I'll just be like a jumper cable here. And we can balance with sound and color as well. But we'll just do a quick, simple one. I want you to breathe in and feel the color of yellow surrounding you. Golden yellow light. It would also be the keynote of E, that physical vibration. Remember, everything's vibration. Color's vibration, sound's vibration. And this would also relate to the adrenal glands, which are right at this area. Breathing deeply. And now, I feel a really strong energy. Can you feel it shift?
Yeah, I feel totally, because it was really good before.
Okay.
I felt totally like I feeling myself coming back, because I've been in this like stressful situation, and like in Hawaii I'm also like I feel so I felt like my energy kind of come back, or my enthusiasm, so it's really nice.
All right. You mean like right now?
Yeah, I felt a total shift. Like
wow,
I
cool.
Forgot.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, now bring your feet together. And we're just going to test the chakra itself. That's fine. I'm going to go back and check this. Oh, we cleared that. And I'll check this. See, everything that was weak before is now strong. That's the good thing about kinesiology. You find what's out. As Goodhart said, you assess the need. You supply the need, like all the corrections that we found out through testing her. And then you observe the result. And the result is, how do you feel?
I feel so much better.
Oh,
like
good.
I even through a session that we did found out that I was unclear about moving to Hawaii, and so it made me clear. And like now I feel really good. I'm going back soon. So
okay. So you were not sure earlier, like a year or so ago, whether you wanted to move to Hawaii or not. So you did a kinesiology session with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got clear. And that's another benefit of kinesiology, is you actually can get clarity in your life. What do I need to do in terms of relationships, in terms of where you want to live? In fact, I've had people balance for the ideal place to live, and I think you found one there, didn't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm so happy there. It's like super amazing paradise.
Yeah. Okay, so, and that's the neat thing about energy balancing. It's not you're just doing physical things. You're shifting your energy, and if you watch The Secret or know David Hawkins' work, you become an attractor field to pull positive things into your life. Interesting thing, if you ever read the book Power versus Force, our professor, Dr. Deal, was David Hawkins' professor in school. He got his PhD through studying with Sheldon Deal at a university, and then after he did his PhD, he says, oh, I'm going to put this into a book. And that's what Power versus Force became, because he studied kinesiology through Dr. Sheldon Deal. Okay,
very cool.
Great. Well, let me go back to our program here, and we're glad you're feeling great. So that was a little bit on how you work with the nutrition, the test kits. I love the test kit. It's so great. I use that in every session because I can find out, and there's other things in here too. There's like what causes Lyme disease in here. There's that bacteria. You have Epstein-Barr. You have like I mentioned, the various hormones. You can find if someone has a progesterone deficiency or testosterone, acetylcholine, the neurotransmitters are all there, as well as dopamine. We have things related to dust, molds, all these things. And you find when they test weak on these, that's the thing you need to focus on. So there's a lot of great things in this kit that, for me, makes such a difference. Because, see, I got a little bit into my background. I was started as a massage therapist and a holistic health practitioner. And I studied every technique I could. And when someone came in, I said, gee, I don't know what technique they need, so I'll try this technique this week. That didn't help. Oh, I'll try this one the next week. And I just kept throwing my toolbox at people. But then when I studied under Goodhart and I learned kinesiology, I knew how to get to the source of what the problem is, which are on, again, it could be environmental toxins, it could be their diet, it could be their emotions, it could be structural challenges. In my certification program, we also do TMJ, which is a huge factor for many people. We do cranials. You study how to assess joints. There's so many great protocols and strategies, and it all gets to what's important for that person. Another fun thing is when I did massage, it's pretty much the same routine with everybody. In a kinesiology session, it's total fresh and new, and not even just with each person that comes in a session can be totally different according to what their biocomputer is revealing, but even one session to the next with a person can be different because you're finding it's like unpeeling the onion. Dr. Deal says the body wants to be fixed in a certain sequence. So what we're doing is finding out what's the top layer of the onion that the body wants, and that's what this priority mode is. It's a way to assess what the priority is. Okay, so we'll go back here and we're going to talk again more about how you can benefit by becoming a kinesiologist, which totally shifted and transformed my life back in basically 1981 when I started studying Touch for Health, and then 82 where I got certified as a kinesiologist with Dr. Goodhart. You learn how to help others by, I got to bring this back up, hold on. Okay, so you do that by, now we got it, correcting musculoskeletal issues, such as muscle aches and spasms, joint problems, range of motion difficulties, headaches, and back pain. I gave you one little tip on headaches, that large intestine 4, which can handle tooth problems and that. There's also another point I love, gallbladder 20. It's right under the skull back here. That often alleviates headaches. Now, in terms of muscle spasms, we have a technique we cover in our fundamentals course, but I'll give you a tip on it right now. It's basically, the easiest one is just brushing. So if you have a tight upper traps, you just briskly brush over the muscle. If you can get on the skin, great. But if you want to do that right now, lean your neck and head to one side and just briskly brush over it. Okay? Again, you can find more information about the fundamentals course by going to our site, kinesiologyinstitute.com. You'll see it up on the logo there on the screen, how to spell kinesiology if that's not in your normal vocabulary. And in that course, we show so many of these techniques and more that we're covering this hour. And it is the prerequisite for a certification program. Now, you can also improve digestion and elimination. We what we call circuit locate, meaning touch and then test things like the large intestine, the stomach, the small intestine. There's reflexes that can immediately eliminate nausea. Like I had a student in class say, "Oh, I'm going to have to go home. I'm very nauseous." They said, "Hold on, let me check something." I tested a muscle related to the small intestines. It was weak. We rubbed the points. Within 30 seconds, it says, "Oh, my nausea is totally gone." And people had one woman who had chronic diarrhea. I didn't know that she had that because she came to me for a car accident she was in to rehab. And after a couple, 3 sessions, she says, "Is anything you do would have effect on my chronic diarrhea?" And I said, "Oh, actually, yeah, for your hip, I'm balancing the muscle related to your large intestine, the tensor fascia lata." She said, "Wow, that's amazing because my diarrhea has totally gone away." And I said, "Yeah, how long have you had it?" She said, "Oh, gosh, 40 years. So it's been my whole life almost." And I go, wow. So great improvements by discovering your optimum diet. And again, that's the one for me that was really made the difference. And I now muscle test foods. And there's a great way to do self-testing. I'm going to show you that right now. It's called the sway test. And the way I do that is you stand and just have your feet balanced between your toes and your heels. And then what you can do is close your eyes. Do this now if you can. And then I want you to feel in your gut and a feeling of warmth and yes. Can you think the word yes and just everything's good? Yes, yes, yes. This is great for me. And see if you lean one way or the other. Okay, now put your feet back in balance, your body weight evenly distributed, and think, oh no, 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 no. And see if you lean the other way. It's called the sway test. And I was at the store the other day, at the food store, and I think it was at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, and I saw this woman in the aisle, and she was holding foods and swaying. Yeah, it was at Trader Joe's, and I got in conversations. "Oh, you're doing the sway test." "Yeah, it's really cool." And so I do that often. And what I'll do then is I'll grab a food or something, and let me just grab a supplement right here, and I tune into the energy of it, and I just relax and see what my body does. Okay, and this is forward. So this is vitamin E. Okay, so you can ask your body, like I'll go and grab a salad and hold it, like those prepackaged salads, and sometimes I'll sway back and I'll put it back on the shelf. And so it's a great way to give yes and no information, particularly good for foods, but I'll sometimes do it for other things too, when there's no one around to test me. I always prefer getting tested myself or testing others, but when you're in a pinch, and I've even done that where I'll go to the shoe store and I'll put a pair of shoes on and walk around the store, and then I'll tell the person that's the sales clerk, I'll say, "Push on my arm," and it'll go weak. And I got to put those shoes back, and they'll try another pair, and they go, "Wow, that's really cool." And I never get a bad pair of shoes that way. Before, I used to get shoes and then get home and I never break them in. I said, "God, I got to get them away. I can't use them because they don't test good." So it's a great way to do testing for that. Okay? So also balancing body chemistry. While we showed a little bit of the neurotransmitters, we also have a way to check and balance hormones and our biochemical balancing and balancing blood sugar. There's so many different things you can do with kinesiology with body chemistry. We already saw this with Sunniva. You can improve sleep and get greater calmness and peacefulness. I've had many times where clients, after I worked with them, they talked to me the next day and said, "I haven't slept so well in 20 years after that balance." So it's great for sleep challenges. Also boosting energy levels and removing fatigue. That is a major factor. In fact, that's probably the number one complaint that doctors hear is, "I don't have energy, I'm fatigued." And this is great for that. Okay, you also enhance your psychological balance in clearing upsetting emotions and traumas. And we've had many of our students in our certification programs say that, oh my gosh, it just totally shifted their whole psychological well-being because they cleared away a lot of upsetting emotions, which are key not only to your psychological health, but your physical health. Then accelerate learning and educational development. When you switch on the body, you switch on the brain, and you're able to process information better. So people learn better through this. Optimizing sports and dance performance. We've had one of our students, and I'll talk about him in a little bit, Danny Varela, has worked with Olympic and world-class athletes where he's actually had them break world records, achieve amazing results in their personal bests and their careers. Another one of our graduates worked with a tennis star who, after he started working with her, she became ranked #1 in the world. It wasn't Serena Williams, it was actually Maria Sharapova. And she won the French Open, her first French Open to complete a Grand Slam after he started doing these techniques with her. So it's great for athletes. I used to go to the Ironman triathlon and worked with athletes and had many of them get their personal bests. One of them set a world record, another one set a national record for women in the Ironman distance after I balanced them. You also can enhance job performance and productivity, which is great, where there's people that do this just to increase that. Also promote spiritual development. We talk about that in our certification program. I mentioned Dr. Hawkins' book, Power versus Force. He has a page, I think it's 68 in the book, where he talks about the planes of consciousness. Ultimately, I see that as really the essence of life, is the purpose of raising our consciousness to higher and higher levels of development. And so we do things there in that course to help us to raise ourselves spiritually, which is basically letting go of things that are holding us down. And we can do that kinesiologically. Okay, you also, in this work, increase your income. Like, I remember when I was a massage therapist back then, I was like getting maybe $20 a session. And of course, that was many years ago. But the key is, when people start doing kinesiology, they often can triple the rates over what a massage therapist can get. We have students that are getting $150, $200, $250, some even $300 a session, because you're doing things that very few other people can do. There's not a lot of people with this knowledge base, so it really helps you to boost your income. And a lot of our people that have done our course end up developing a 6-figure income fairly quickly. Now, we also feel more satisfaction and fulfillment by helping others, and you learn how to work smarter, not harder, to get right to the core of what's happening. And for me, there's no better payment than when somebody says, "You saved my life." I have testimonials that people said, "You literally saved my life." And I've had people that lived way longer. In fact, one woman is going to be 100 in a few months. And I started working with her when she was about 92 or 93. And her daughter thought, "I don't know if she's going to make it much longer." And we started balancing her. And a lot of it came down to shifting her diet and getting her on the right program and supplements. And she's doing great 7 years later. Okay, so become associated with a wonderful group of holistic professionals. The people in the kinesiology field are just wonderful people. I just love the camaraderie and the spirit of kinesiologists and the conferences and the workshops. In fact, I spend literally $10,000 a year just going around to these different conferences. And it's mainly so I can hang out with the people. So it's a really great way to develop friends. And we've even had people get married that met in our courses. And so that's great. And become healthier yourself and live a longer and healthier, high-quality life. And that certainly is a great thing, right? Living a longer, healthier life. Okay, so here's a few things graduates have said. Of all the courses I've taken, the kinesiology certification program has been the most valuable. Upon completion, this woman was able to open 2 successful offices, making a very good living right away. And what's most rewarding is that she's helping people, so many people, in profound ways. It's Danny, I mentioned about the athletes. Due to the phenomenal results I'm now able to achieve using the skills I learned in the kinesiology certification program, my practice has tripled. My clients include many professional and Olympic athletes who gladly pay him $300 a session for excellent results they receive. He has people fly in from other countries as well as other states to see him, and was actually taken by an Olympic team to the Olympics to work on their athletes. Peggy Myers, who's a registered nurse and a nurse practitioner, said the kinesiology certification program has been the foundation of her practice for the past 15 years. She's taken many other courses in kinesiology and energy work and found that this program not only provides the best instruction in kinesiology, but also creates a clear foundation into which all other modalities can be integrated. And then we have, there's Maylene Robertson. And Maylene, who has done phenomenal things, she's got 2 busy practices now that she did this, and a lot of people do this in our program. They start using the skills right away and employing them and earning income as they're studying. So she was earning her tuition and then some to help support her 2 children as she was going through the program. And she just completed her first year. This is when she wrote this of the certification. She's now completed it, but she's already seen her practice doubled. And the success has come from her clients telling their friends of the substantial results, losing weight, eliminating pain, and total improvement in their posture. So she recommends the program and me, who she feels I'm a master teacher and mentor. Okay, so now, here's study options. I've already mentioned the kinesiology, energy kinesiology fundamentals. That's our course that has a substantial discount on it right now, and you can join us this weekend. We already have over 100 students in the program that will give you excellent skills that you can employ right away, whether you're in practice, you don't have to have any prerequisite, or if you already have a lot of skills. We have people that are practicing 20, 30 years that take the course, and they say, wow, this makes it so much simpler. I can find out things. So no matter what your level of skill, you'll be able to get great results with it. Now, we also have our kinesiology certification and mentorship program. In this program, we cover in depth the structure, the nutrition, the emotional, and the electrical. And we also give you coaching in business development. So we have a whole new program we're bringing in with a master business consultant and marketing coach. And so we're going to be plugging that into our program. We will be doing other presentations just around the certification program because it's so vast. We don't have time to cover it all today. But you can do this. Actually, we'll cover one other factor. We have the Applied Kinesiology Shortcuts with Dr. Sheldon Deal that we've had hundreds of students get phenomenal results in his program. And again, I've been studying with him for 32 years, and what's fantastic is every week almost I learn something new from him. He is the master. He's like the guru of gurus in kinesiology. He has such a breadth of skill. He's been doing this for over 45 years and has amazing knowledge and skill base. So in his Shortcuts program, you can get a lot of great skills. So if you wanted to register for the Energy Kinesiology Fundamentals, you can go to kinesiologyinstitute.com, and there's a course on the left-hand corner of our current site. We got a new site coming out in 2 weeks, but you'll see that on either site. There's a button that says, you can click on it to go right to that page and read all the skills you can get. And again, we have a substantial discount available for you right now if you wanted to join us. Also, you can schedule a phone or Skype session, and in that consultation, you can get all your questions answered and see what's the best program that we have, or if, in some cases, there might be another program outside of us that's more relevant for you. So we really assess what your needs and wants are and give you a sense of what would be your best direction with where you're at right now. And if you put that in the subject line, when you email that, it's schedule a session. Now, if you do this in the next, by the end of this weekend, what we're going to do is by just scheduling that session, we'll give you $50 off any program should you decide to go to it, anyone that you have not already enrolled in. So any new program, you'll get a $50 discount just for taking the time, which usually is about 20 to 30 minutes, for us to help you find if there's something in our programs that will help you. And people find that's very beneficial because we really tune into what your needs are and what would be best. Because I've done a lot of programs where I enroll and I take it and say, this wasn't right for me. and then I was out all that money. We make sure you're in the program that's best fit for you if it's good timing for you. And again, you'll get a $50 discount on it. Okay? So then, let's see, our last thing here, let's pull this down on the board. Okay. Is, I recommend you take action now to assure your space. Now, in the certification program, if you were to join that, you basically apply to it because we have a limited amount of space. We want to make sure that we have people that they're dedicated, they're serious, and that we can give you everything we can to get you to be a successful six-figure income plus practice. So that's where you can make that appointment for a Skype or phone session. And if you like, you can also go to the Kinesiology Institute site, and you'll see right near the top there's a link where you can click for that session as well. Either email us or click that link. And again, you'll receive substantial discounts on our programs right now because we're about to increase our rates. We've been holding them down for last several years, and we're keeping it for one more month before we accelerate it, so you'll be able to save substantially by joining now. So it's been a great thrill for me to be with you today, and I will answer any questions. I'm just going to pull my screen back up here. Yeah, I'll answer any questions if you like between me and my assistants by just going to support at kinesiologyinstitute.com, and we'll do everything we can to answer your questions. Just know that this is a system that can really make a profound difference in your lives, in the lives of the people that you love and that you serve. There was a man named Albert Schweitzer, great doctor, who said, "Those of you who are truly happy are those who have sought and found a way to serve." I always wanted to do holistic work that would really help people. And I searched through many, many different programs, and when I finally found Applied Kinesiology and Touch for Health, that's what really put it all together for me. So we'd love to have you in our programs. And I'll give you one last quote that's really the essence of what we do. There was a man, we wouldn't have the life we'd have if it wouldn't have been for him, named Thomas Edison. And one of my clients actually knew Thomas Edison when she was a little girl. She lived to be 108 years old, named Irene Harrison. After a session one day, she got up and said to me, she says, "You know, you're doing what my old friend Thomas Edison said the doctor of the future will do." And that quote, you probably have heard, is the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will educate his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. And that's what we do. I don't consider myself a therapist. I consider myself a consultant to help people find the cause of their challenges and how to prevent future challenges and allowing their body to heal itself. And that's what we're doing. We're switching on the body's energy healing systems so it brings it back into balance. We're finding diet, what the foods are optimum to eat, what foods to eliminate, and then bringing about emotional, psychological well-being and spiritual development. So if you'd like to study with us, we'd love to have you in our programs, and you know what to do. Just email support at kinesiologyinstitute.com or go on our site, kinesiologyinstitute.com, and you can schedule a phone session with us, and we'd love to have you in our fundamentals program where you'll learn a lot of great skills you can immediately employ. Okay? So God bless, and thank you for your time and your spirit. It's been a pleasure.